Simisola Okai, welcome again to my YouTube channel. It's great having you. You wrote a book, Waiting for the Ice Cream Man. Can you tell us a little bit what inspired this book and your journey to writing this book?
I was inspired to write this book actually when I was single. I had given my life to the Lord, and I felt, I wanted to date the way He wanted me to date, if that makes sense. I read a book, it was actually called I Kissed Dating Goodbye. And I just felt like, wow, that's a different perspective on dating, because, I was always like boy crazy, I like this guy, he's cute, I hope it can work out, but I never really, after I gave my life to the Lord, I felt like, oh, you know what, I really want Him to pick who I'm going to marry. I don't want to date just to date. I don't want to date just to have a boyfriend. I wanted to date with a purpose. So, I prayed a prayer, and the prayer was that God should pick who I should marry. And in doing that, the way I would know is that if He took me out for ice cream on our first date. So I asked God to tell Him to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can see that is where the name, the ice cream man, come from. You said something very important. You said you wanted God to pick whoever you're going to date. Why was that important to you?
Because I knew if I did, I would get it wrong. I trusted God with my life, and I knew that He would never lead me wrong. I knew that He was very protective over my heart. And so I knew I could trust Him in that area. So I wanted, I'd heard other stories of people doing that. And it just intrigued me, like, wow, I like this way of dating, or not dating. I like this way of, if you're going to do something as big as getting married, you'd want God involved in that. Yeah.
Wow, that is very powerful. And for you, what will you say the goal of writing this book is? There are a lot of books on relationship out there. So for you, what will you want to see happen?
I think for me, because in waiting, it was about a 10-year wait. And there were times I felt so discouraged. I saw other people dating, I saw other people getting in and out of relationships. There were a lot of Friday nights I'm alone, and I felt like, wow, this is not exciting or fun, and I wanted to encourage others who would be in my position in waiting that God really does hear you. I remember, and there were a few occasions where I felt really discouraged, like, God, I know I'm trusting you with this, and I believe you have someone for me, but how come there's no one? Because I actually didn't have a boyfriend. I never, entered into a relationship in the waiting period. So it just felt like, wow, am I really waiting on a purpose? And God told me that once I do this for you, I want you to tell others. Even before it happened, I felt like Him telling me very strongly that there are many others who are like me, who are waiting on Him, and it hasn't happened. But He wanted me to share the story to encourage others that He does hear. Don't get discouraged by other people saying, oh, how come you're not in a relationship? Why aren't you dating? Just go out there, have fun, I wanted other people to know that God is the author of romance. He's the one that writes stories better than anyone else. So that's why I felt just a leading from God that when He did it, I should share my story with other people.
Okay, that's powerful.
And He did it through you.
Oh, yes, praise God.
But sorry, I have to ask this though.
Okay.
Why did you buy me ice cream?
Oh, good question. Okay, so for those who might not have heard it before, my mentor told me that any lady that you're going to date, be very transparent with them at whatever level that you are. Don't try to pretend to be who you're not. So I think I still remember that fateful day. I didn't have a lot of money on me. And I remember when we walked in, the cheapest thing there that day was ice cream. I went through the menu, I saw the rice, the chicken, I saw this. I'm like, oh Lord, I don't have this money. So I remember coming back to even ask you that, what do you want?
Yeah.
And then you said, no, whatever I pick, you're fine with it. So when you said, okay, so I was now fighting in my head, should I like go for ice cream that's the cheapest, or pretend to go for rice and then buy the rice and then buy the expensive stuff and then you eat and you're smiling, and I'll also be smiling with you. Then when I leave, I'll be like, oh Lord. So I know, but I just felt something in me, like keep it real, and I just went and got the ice cream, and I could remember the joy on your face, like it was so real. I'm like, wow, she love ice cream, like so I was just trying to be myself. I never even knew if you had any like fleas or anything, but yeah, so.
That's cool, and you being yourself is what actually God used, so.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
So, so finally, so what would be your encouragement, to every single lady that's watching this, that has been waiting, and also for parents that, feel, God is late concerning their daughter. Like, what would be your advice? Because, waiting is not always easy.
I think there's a scripture that I held on to. Consider those who through faith and patience inherit what has been promised. So keep praying, keep trusting that God has a plan and he has a good way. He says no good thing will he withhold from those who love him and are called according to his purpose. So I really want to encourage people to know that that God does hear your prayers. He has a set time. The Bible says there's a time for everything. And so don't worry, don't fret. The God who gave you, for the parents, the God who gave you the son or daughter is able to, he saw ahead. Every page of your book was written even before you came to be. And so even those who are waiting and trusting God, he's written your story. Like, he has a beautiful story in mind. He's like, come to me. I want to show you that I can do this even better than you can. So just trust that God is the author of your life, Amen. Your love life, your everything life, and he's going to write it in his time.
Amen. Yep. Yeah, so Simisola Okai, thank you again for coming to, grant us this interview today. If you don't mind, would you please say a short prayer to all the viewers, and yeah.
Okay, I'd love to. Dear God, thank you for my ice cream man over here. Thank you for even just writing this story, God. And I pray that for those who are watching, who are trusting you to write their own story, God, that you would just surprise them with your goodness, Lord. To know that you delight in purpose. You delight in putting people together. You are the author of romance. You are the author of marriage. You are the one that even brought Adam and Eve together, Lord. And I just pray, God, that you would give whoever's watching the faith to trust you in this area of their life. I pray for healing from any form of disappointment, from past relationships or, past hopes being crushed. I pray that you just renew their spirits to know that that you delight in helping them in this area, that they're not alone, and that when they wait on you, God, no good thing will you withhold from them. That those who wait on you, God, you will renew their strength, and that you will fulfill the promise, God. You are a promise-keeping God, and I pray that you would just encourage them, Lord, that your word will come to pass in its perfect time, God. And I pray that it will be beautiful when it does. In Jesus' name.
Amen. All right, thank you guys for watching. God bless you, and see you next time.
Great job. Great job.
No, do you shake? Do you shake female?
No, you don't shake. You.
Good job.
You shake other females' hands, mind you.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, guys.